Oh, hello. Well, this is a nice surprise. Come in, come in. You're very welcome here. Whoever you are and whatever brought you to this door tonight, do come stand a moment out of whatever the evening's decided to do to you. Rain, or wind, or just that particular kind of dark that makes a person walk faster than they meant to. Whatever it was, you needn't mind it now. I don't get many new faces. Well, that's not quite true. I get a great many new faces. It's simply rare that I get to do the showing around myself, start to finish, the way I'd like to. So, since it's your first time, and I have a feeling it is, will you let me show you the place properly? I think a person ought to be shown a library, the same way you'd be shown into somebody's home, not just pointed toward a chair. Come along then. There's a bit I'd like to show you before we even properly settle in. Out here, if you don't mind a moment longer in the evening air, I like this part. Have a look around you. In the daylight hours, there's none of this. No walls, no roof, no lamps glowing the way they will be shortly. Just a meadow. A plain, pretty stretch of grass. The kind that catches the light nicely in the late afternoon, with a river running easy and slow through the middle of it. People walk past in the daytime and think, how peaceful, and keep walking, and never know what settles over the place once the sun starts going down. I like to imagine what it looks like in the hours I'm not here to see it. Sunlight on the grass, birds doing whatever it is birds do when nobody's listening. The river going along at its own pace, same as it does once we're inside, just unaccompanied, I suppose, for a little while. I picture it sometimes on quiet evenings. It's rather a nice thing to picture. As for how the meadow becomes all this, well, I have my own idea on that. Now, inside, and mind the door. It sticks a little at the top hinge, always has. We'll start here, by the fire, because everyone starts here, whether they mean to or not. It's simply where the warmth is. I keep this fire myself. Feed it, bank it, coax it back up when it's gotten low. There's something satisfying about a task you can do with your hands. So most nights you'll find me doing all sorts of things I don't strictly have to. Shelving books, dusting corners nobody's going to inspect, making tea 1 cup at a time instead of rushing the ceremony of it. That kettle by the fire. Go on and help yourself, once it's warm. I'll usually have it going before anyone's even through the door. I've a good sense for when someone's on their way. Behind you, careful, that shelf leans a little. It's been leaning since before I can remember. Behind you is where the traveller's stories live. Every book on that shelf came from somebody who sat exactly where you're sitting now, warming their hands, and decided, before they left, that they had a story worth trading for the night's shelter. I don't ask for the story. They just tend to offer it, once they've been here long enough to feel how quiet it is. Something about quiet loosens a story right out of a person. That tall case in the corner, the one that goes up further than a case has any business going, that's the old stock. Books that were here before I started keeping proper track of things. I still find ones I've never opened. Every so often I'll climb up, on a night when nothing else is calling to me, and just see what's been waiting up there. It's a bit like meeting a very patient stranger. And the desk? Mind you don't trip on the corner of that rug. It's older than it looks, and it's earned the right to curl up at the edges. The desk is mine. That's where I do my own writing. When a story comes to me and won't leave me alone until I've put it down properly. And that book open on it, The one with the worn cover, that's the guest log. Everyone who comes through gets a line in it. Doesn't matter who you are, or why you came, or whether you meant to find this place at all. You get a page, same as everybody. I had a visitor once, a good while back now, who came back a few times, enough that we grew rather familiar with one another. She offered to help out around the place, which I always thought was kind of her. Followed me about of an evening, whatever I happened to be doing. She had a habit of using my name when she asked for things. Elizabeth? Do you have anything about the sea in this place? Elizabeth, will you let me pour you a cup for once? Elizabeth, would you like to hear a story I've been saving up? I did, as it happens. Sat right there and heard every word of it and enjoyed her company just as much as the story, if I'm honest. More than I probably let on at the time. Though I still wonder, now and again, whether she left me another one somewhere, tucked onto a shelf where I'd only find it by accident, on some evening she couldn't have predicted. I haven't found it yet. But this is a large library, and I haven't looked everywhere. I think of her sometimes when I open that log. I don't know that she'll come back through that door again, but her line's still in there, same as everyone's. Nothing in this library gets crossed out. Now, this next part is my favourite, so I'll admit I'm a little biased showing it to you. Past the reading chairs, where the shelves thin out, and the ceiling opens up a good deal higher than a ceiling should. That's where the river runs through. The very same river from the meadow outside, only in here it has a proper place of its own. A wide, quiet stretch with grass along the bank and stone underfoot where you'd want it, and shelves built right up to the water's edge like the books don't mind the company. Mostly, it's a spot for sitting quietly, to dip your feet, to listen, to let your thoughts settle the way the water does. But now and then, a few visitors find themselves down there at once, and somehow it turns into its own little gathering. Someone starts a story, and somebody else adds to it, and before long the whole bank's caught up in it. I've never quite worked out how it happens. It just does, every so often, on its own schedule. I've spent more hours than I could count down there myself, one way or the other. You're welcome any time you like. There's more of the library than this, past what you can see from here. I'll show you in time, if you keep finding your way back. It tends to open up a little more with every visit. I rather like doing the showing gradually. Keeps a bit of the place still yours to discover. For tonight, though, the fire, the tea, the sound of that river through the far door. I think that's plenty. You look like someone who's had rather a long day. I'm glad you found your way here tonight, whichever way that happened to be. You don't have to do anything else now. No more travelling, no more explaining yourself, no more staying awake out of habit. Just let the fire do what it does, and let the quiet do what it does. You're safe here, and there's nothing left for you to carry tonight. Whenever you're ready, let yourself rest. I'll be here next time too. I'm always here. That's rather the one thing about me you can count on. Sleep well, dear insomniac. The library will still be standing when you wake, though you may have to wait until dusk to find it again. Good night.